away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the big show on the radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. And how do you do? Great to be with you again. I am Rob Brown, your ever so humble yet frequently correct and, dare I say, obnoxiously good-looking host. Directly across from me, on the other side of the glass, both literally and metaphorically today, in charge of button switches, levers, knobs, gears, fullies, fulcrums, what am I messing out? I don't know. Simple machinery required to not only get us on the air, not only to get us sounding as good as we do every day, but the man single-handedly responsible for getting us nominated as best sports talk show in the state of South Carolina. He is the great one. Hashtag Dad Kicks Colonel Grudge. Lonzo at the helm. What's up, dog?
I also bathed in humility this morning.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Did you? So you're feeling
striking, sexy.
Yeah.
With wonderful hair. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling today.
It's just a good day. You know, here's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. After the show today, Lonzo and I, along with everybody else who work here at Odyssey, we'll be throwing our little company shindig, if you will. And if you haven't picked up on it yet, Lonzo and I both a wee bit competitive. Just a wee bit competitive.
Just a little bit.
Just a little competitive. And when you set us up in a situation where we are going to not only compete, but compete with our coworkers specifically, and we may or may not have a couple in mind that we want to beat again specifically.
I guarantee you that couple will no-show today. You know why? Because they don't want any of this.
Because they know they don't want that smoke.
That's right. They don't.
They don't want that smoke. Because I got to tell you, so for those of you who don't know, we're not just going to like a party to fight each other. We're the party is a bowling. We're going bowling as a company after the show today.
Here's the deal, because you're still fairly new here. Winners have parties, and that's what we're doing because we're winners.
True that. True that. So, yeah, we're going bowling, and Zoe and I have decided we don't care who lines up in the lane next to us. They're getting that smoke today. They're getting that smoke. And so of course, all it comes down to is that we've been hyped up since we walked in the building this AM. We're going to stay hyped up during the show. We're going to remain hyped up after the show. And when it's time, and then pins come down the first time.
Someone has responded. Someone has responded.
Oh.
Look at that.
Kristen's coming for that smoke. Okay.
See, here's the
sales team coming for that smoke.
Here's the thing. They would have to violate the halo. You don't know about the halo.
I don't know what the halo
There is a halo around me, and it's not stink. Because, as I said, I bathed in humility today, which smells so good.
It's Axe body spray is what it is.
No, it's humility. I would never wear Axe. There's a halo around me where people just don't come towards. They don't enter that halo. It happens when I go to.
Should be very careful about that, admitting that to people. When I'm out in public, people don't like to come within 6 feet of me.
Well, yeah, there's that, and
it does sound better the way you're putting it, though.
Yeah, there's no restraining order or anything. It's just a halo. When I would go sit in the stands and go to games, there's like a halo, and people will not come into it. So I'm wondering, will Rob Brown being present cause the halo to be pierced? And radio, Kristen has responded, but see, radio is kind of like cliquish.
It's very, very cliquish.
And in order for us to see her scores, although you can share from lane to lane, by the way, so all the way on the other side where all the cool people supposedly hang out, we could share our scores with them. We'll see if she's willing to come over to the talk side, because there's been a talk side and there's been a music side.
Look, I don't know how y'all do it as far as the talk people over here and the music people over there and the sales folks over there and management over there. All I know is Whoever lines up in lane 6, if I'm in lane 7, I'm coming for you, dog. Like, we're all going to be huggy buddy all day long. McCrory's one of my favorite. I love Kristen, one of my favorite people, y'all. She is. But Kristen, if you want that smoke, come get it.
All right. This may sound arrogant, especially coming from me. It's probably surprising, but the only competition that's going to happen today will be between you and I.
That ain't true.
Nobody else need even come that direction because they don't want it.
I can see Kevin wanting some of that smoke.
Who?
Kevin.
Who's Kevin?
Sales Kevin.
Who's Kevin?
Oh, you gonna do him like that? I'm just telling him come get some. You're not even acknowledging him as a person.
Here's the
rough.
deal. There's talent, and then there's sales. That's how that works. It's, as I said, cliquish. The talent in this room is so much better at bowling than anybody in this building that none of them want any. I mean, we don't need to put any money down on it because it's easy money for us. But we'll see if it's one thing to talk about it online. It's one thing to, send texts and tweets. Another thing to show up and get some. That's all I'm saying.
Smoke.
I know 2 people who will not show up and get some because they don't want any at all. And that's that show for men.
They don't want none.
They don't want none
They
at
don't
all.
want none. Come get that smoke, Diesel. Come get that smoke, Mark Ryan. Y'all won't see me at airsoft, at paintball. Y'all, what else have we challenged? How many things have we challenged them to? And they have taken none of them. None of them.
I think miniature golf was in there.
Miniature golf.
Go-kart racing.
Yep. The only one that I know they have to take is we've been invited to throw out first pitches at a Spartanburgers game. And I think 2 weeks? Actually, 2 weeks from today. Or 2 weeks from tomorrow, I think. Whatever day it is. We've been invited to come out and throw first pitches at the Spartanburgers game, which is the only contest that Mark can't duck, is who throws a better first pitch.
I disagree because I've worked with this person for a while. And
you think I'll find a way to duck that?
And here's what Mark Ryan will do, because there's no way that Mark Ryan goes and is on the mound. He is not going out there.
He's going off the grass?
Yeah, no, no, I don't think he's going on the field, period, because he cannot hold a candle to you. And I've seen you pitch before, but I've seen him do things, so I know that you're better than him already. He will do this. Here's what he'll do. Diesel, you've never had a chance to throw out a first pitch.
Moment to shine.
You know what, buddy? I want you to have your opportunity. Even though Diesel is more famous than the 3 of us put together.
Combined.
Yes.
That's a fact.
But that's what he will do.
That's a fact.
That is his way out. That is his way out. We'll see what happens.
I'll square it up with Diesel on that. That's fine with me.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
I'll square it up with Diesel.
No, that's what we call ducking.
In fairness,
that's what we call ducking.
It is. But in fairness, Diesel is the one that coined the show for men versus the show for boys. And yet the show for men has not showed up for anything we have challenged them to. And now I think you're right. I don't think they're showing tonight.
So maybe we should call them the no show for men.
Ooh. Let's get the lunch breakdown going. The lunch breakdown, the 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworkers, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. This will be the scuttlebutt around the lunch table today. First one, a bit of a short one, but a bit of an important one for me. The revolution of women's sports continues in this country, which I love to see. The NBA 2K franchise is one of the best selling sports franchises in all of the land. And they do a cover release every year, just like Madden does and other video games do. Well, this year, for the first time, a major sporting league-based video game franchise has elected to place a female athlete on the cover, ladies and gentlemen, Candace Parker, player for the Chicago Sky, two-time MVP, is on the GameStop exclusive edition of NBA 2K22, now available for pre-order. There are two versions of the cover. Miss Parker is on one of them, and Luka Doncic of the NBA's Dallas Mavericks, the 22-year-old phenom, is on the standard edition of NBA 2K 2022. The 75th anniversary edition also has a three legends of their era cover that has Brooklyn Nets star Kevin Durant, Dirk Nowitzki of the Dallas Mavericks, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on as well. Nowitzki and Doncic are the first Mavericks on the cover of the game per the Dallas Morning News. The 2K franchise is also celebrating the 25th anniversary edition of the WNBA with the exclusive cover. Parker is in her first season back home in Chicago after 13 years with the LA Sparks, including a championship run in 2016 when she was voted the WNBA Finals MVP. TV ratings for WNBA games continue to rise. The product is available in more places and on more streaming services than ever before. And as the growth of the female demographic in the gaming community continues to grow, that has been recognized with the WNBA addition to the 2K series and now a WNBA cover athlete as well. Congratulations to Candace Parker. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. Happy Open Championship Week. The Open is back. It will start off tomorrow with round 1, the year's final major being played after a 1-year break due to the pandemic last year. Of course, we will be keeping an eye on weather as we always do. There is the potential for rain in the area. Well, because it's Britain and every day is 100% chance for rain, but wind will come into play as well. It has been 2 years since we've had the Open. It is the most unique of the 4 majors, and it's links golf. What I mean by links golf is it's big, it's open, but it's windy, it's rainy. You can actually go from having it very cold in the morning to very, very, very hot in the afternoon. You can have no wind in the morning time and then 20, 25 mile an hour winds in the afternoon. You have to be very creative on this course, but you also have to get very lucky on this course. There are 4 or 5 tee boxes that are completely blind. You know the layout of the hole. You know where the hole's going, but it's up over the top of a ridge, and you're just kind of guessing that you're hitting it in the right spot. I believe it was Steve Stricker earlier today said something along the lines of there are shots you hit on the golf course that you don't know until you walk within 25, 30 yards of the ball, whether it is on the fairway, in the rough, in a hazard, or maybe on the green. You just don't know. It is going to be incredibly interesting. It's the most unique major and one of the most fun in the game. We will keep talking about the Open Championship later on in the day. Savannah Lee is going to join us about 1:30 to break that down. Finally, item number 3, Lonzo. I should get into the game of predicting things one day with the assumption that the exact opposite is going to happen the next day. Team USA basketball, 0-2 in exhibition play. Greg Popovich has lost 4 of his last 5 games coming into yesterday. So what did I do when I got off the show yesterday, Zoe? I sat down in front of the computer, banged out an article that laid out all the reasons that Team USA had a problem, beginning with problem number 1, Team USA ain't one. Not a team. Weren't playing together. Lots of guys playing iso ball. The rest just hanging out at the three-point line, hoping to grab a kick out and a desperation 3. Didn't score for the final 4 minutes in the loss against Australia, which followed up a loss against Nigeria. They looked bad. They looked awful. It was absolutely infuriating. So I called him out. Here's the problems. Here's what's wrong. And part of it's Greg Popovich. They're not running sets. They're not getting guys into positions to run ISO ball against, an isolated defender. That's why they call it that. And then, Lonzo, what does Team USA do last night? Go out and smoke Argentina 108-80 in a game that wasn't particularly that close as a 28-point margin would had you believe. Back-to-back L's, the Americans struggled with offensive execution. They struggled on the defensive side of the ball. And then what'd they do in this one? NBD played great defense, had excellent ball movement. Kevin Durant suddenly looked like the rust had been knocked off. 8 points in the first quarter, 17 on 6 of 9 shooting in the day. Bradley Beal, who shot 38% and averaged 7 points in the first 2 games, instead comes out, knocks down his first 4, 2 of them threes. He also ends with 17 points. Man, where was this the last 2 days? Why did you have me all worked up, all in a tizzy, all in a panic? And now there's an article on our website, Lonzo, where I go ham on Pops and Team USA, and then they come out the next day and smoke Argentina and win by 28.
Here's what I say. Thank you, Rob Brown, for giving the motivation that was needed for our USA team to get back on track. You should take all credit.
Well, Pops is a big listener of the show, right? Pops is out there in Vegas. He's a big listener of the show.
Worldwide, baby.
Yeah. And I'm sure Greg heard the show yesterday and just got motivated. By the way, I do want to say this. The Argentinians are the worst team that we have played so far. Let me try to save some face here. The Argentinians are the worst team we've played so far. They are not as good as Nigeria. They are not as good as Australia. They are not quite on their level. However, they're still a decent team. As far as international sides go, they're still a decent team. They will head back. They will head back now on Friday. And here's where we get the real test, Zoe. On Friday evening, after 2 days off, practice and film time, the Americans square back off with the Aussies for one more exhibition match. One more go with the Australians, Patty Mills and co, before we head to Japan to open up with probably the best contender in this tournament outside of us, which is France. It will be the red, white, and blue versus Les Bleus to start this Olympics, and that is going to be a huge dictation of the mentality about this team based on game number 1. Game number 1. So, that being said, I'm excited about what I saw last night. What I saw last night was growth for Team USA. That's fabulous. But now, the word that more coaches use more than anything else in any sport anywhere, consistency. Can you show me consistency? Can you forget game 1 against Australia and Nigeria, dump those 2 games down, come out on Friday after smoking a inferior Argentinian team, and go up against the Aussies and redeem yourselves? That's all I need to see. All I need to see. Joey texted in. I like this guy. Zoe. Joey texted in and says, Rob, get the W at bowling tonight, knowing that the only reason you won is because I don't work for Odyssey. Signed, Joey. Joey wants the smoke.
Love that confidence, Joey.
Yeah, man.
We are trying to work on something behind the scenes, and maybe since we know salespeople are listening right now, we would love to be able to take on some listeners at bowling and say some sort of event set up by the sales team.
Screw it. I'm just going to ask if we did like a once a month. I mean, once a week because I'm being greedy. But if we did like a once a month remote at a bowling alley where we did like a little mini tournament, would any of you guys show up for that? Come up, bowl one round. Come up and bowl a round and we'll keep score. And we have prizes for like the top 3 or 4 or 5 bowlers of the day. Would you guys do that? Take your lunch break, show up, come hang out at the bowling alley with Rob and Zoe, listen to the show live, bowl around, top 2-3 golfers get prizes if you beat me and Lonzo.
I was going to say, you need to put that. They actually
They
have to beat us to win a prize.
Top 3 bowlers who beat Rob and Lonzo, you get a prize. Would you guys show up for that if we do that? Because I'm not saying that's the thing I'm working on, but hey, sales team. Not saying, just saying.
Yeah, we may or may not already be working on our bowling shirts, but they're going to look good. They're going to look really good. The question
Texter
is,
says,
collar flipped up or collar down?
Always down.
Yeah, because collar flipped up is such a show for men type thing. Yeah.
It really is. Texter says, hell yeah, I'll show up just to kick Zoe's ass. Wow! Callers are feeling themselves today. Let's take a break. Back after this. Rob, Lonzo, you. It's ESPN Upstate.
I have a live.
Yeah, Joe, you will smoke me. You will never hear me challenge listeners to golf because I know how bad I am. But bowling, I'll throw 2 10s in bowling. Bowling alley we're going to today is I've never played on a bowling alley like the one today where the pins are like on strings.
It's wires.
Or wires.
Yeah, it's just interesting because you're used to how the pins will fly, and sometimes they don't fly the same way. It's not so obnoxious that you're going, okay, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because every once in a while, you're used to, if you throw a ball a certain way, where explosions can happen, and sometimes they don't do it the way that you're used to seeing.
That may frustrate me a little bit.
Well, not if you're a strategist. You can figure it out. One thing about it is you don't see the pin flying out into the lane and have the dude come down and which I
happen to do a lot.
Well, every once in a while. That's just proof that I threw the ball really, really hard.
I'd be honored to drive across the state to have you whoop my tail on the lanes. Now, see, Carter, you're a pastor. I have to at least fake humility with you. The rest of y'all, though. Here's a fun secret for those on the stream. I'm not really that good of a bowler.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking it just because we talk stuff doesn't mean we're that great. I mean, yeah, if we were really, really good, we'd be on the tour right now.
I'm like Conor McGregor. I talk a bunch, but don't really win.
Well, I mean, it's all according to whatever the competition is. Like that show for men, not a problem.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, and you. Phone lines open at 844-GSP, ESPN 844.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Zoe.
You know what this song's called? I just want to tell you, this song is called Savage Ginger. I just wanted to tell you that. Speaking of bowling.
The Ginger Assassin. We pay those guys to show up and call our company bowling party.
Well, we could just call each other's. We can do that.
We're gonna get kicked out.
No,
out.
No. We've rented the lanes for a couple hours. No one's allowed in but us. So I think you'd have to try really hard to be kicked out.
Last night's MLB All-Star game, cut number 2, if you don't mind, Lonzo, mainly because I put the time to edit this together, so I'm gonna play it. Remarkably entertaining. If the All-Star game is the one game a year that you watch, I mean, it wasn't the greatest game in the world, but it was relatively entertaining.
The American League takes on the National League with a 7-game win streak on the American League side. They've won 7 in a row. Of course, we skipped last year, but going back to 2019 and before that, you have to go back to 2012, the last time the National League took down the AL.
Honoring the late Hank Aaron, his widow, Mrs. Billy Aaron, is on the field. They have Hank Aaron's number. They have a portrait of Hank Aaron out there as well. Hank Aaron lost this past year, being honored tonight for the 91st Baseball All-Star game.
On the mound for the National League, it is Max Scherzer, 36 years young. 3 times he has won the Cy Young Award.
This is so amazing when you think about a leadoff batter going to pitch the bottom half of the inning, and that's exactly what Ohtani's doing.
Grounds one right side. Nice play to his right, and Frazier gets the out. Took a hit away from Ohtani.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the pitch. Swing and a line drive, one hop, flag down to the right of second by Frazier, who steadies, fires the first. Guerrero is out. He hugged Max Scherzer.
And that went right by Max Scherzer's head, and I know that was over 100 miles per hour exit velocity. That's cool and scary at the same time.
And here he is. Wait, we just saw him at
did.
the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Shohei Ohtani now on the mound to start this game, and part of the reasoning has to do with the fact that the players wanted him as a pitcher. They voted for him, and also his manager, Kevin Cash, didn't want to put him in unfamiliar territory. He's not a reliever. Let him start. He's had enough to do this weekend.
And he'll face Fernando Tatis Jr., the 22-year-old shortstop of the Padres.
Gets it off the end of the bat, flies it into left, and the ballpark will hold it. 1 down. And standing at first base is the reigning National League MVP, Freddie Freeman.
Oh,
how
here
about
we
that?
go. Gosh darn it.
Here comes that moment. Meanwhile, Corbin Burns walks Judge to lead off the inning, and you look short, Freddie.
I told him I was going to look short if he got to first base, and here we are.
Second and third, nobody out, scoreless. We're in the top of the second. Here's Marcus Semien down.
That's Wickley to third. It's going to produce the first run of the game. Judge scores on an infield hit for Marcus Semien. 1-0 American League.
Hey, I heard your son, Charlie, got to meet Tatis Jr.
Yeah, I think I'm dad of the year. That's what I'm going to name myself. That's all he wanted. And Fernando, what an incredible person. So good with kids. incredible baseball player and an even better person. So made my son very, very happy.
Fernando Tatis Jr. is wearing a mic and an earpiece out there at short. How you doing, Fernando?
What up, boys? Chilling over here.
Yeah, you having any fun? You've been smiling ever since.
You have to. You have to. When you're living the dream, you have to, lover.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr., how good of friends are you two?
That's my boy since childhood, man. We come up together. We're kind of living almost the same life. You know, we grew up as a son of major leaguers, and it's happened almost the same ride for both of us.
Yeah! Goodbye! Wow! Guerrero Jr. has doubled the lead. Say something to him on his way around.
Vladdy Jr. with a monster shot. It's 2-0 American League.
Ryan Reynolds, Pirates center fielder.
There's a blast to deep right center field. Judge tracking back, and he's got it. Life's good when you're 6'7". Vladdy Jr., and that's Frazier putting him away, and it will produce a run. An RBI ground out makes it 3-0 AL.
Mullins down to second. With 2 down, here's Bogarts.
And that's going to get through. Mullins has wheels. He'll score easily. It's 4-0 American League on the RBI single from Xander Bogaerts. JT Real Muto is 0 for 1 tonight with a strikeout.
Swing and a ball drilled center field. Mullins back, racing back, looking, gone. Into the bullpen in right center field. JT Real Muto will touch them all.
We heard you last time when you said he doesn't hit for much power.
National League on the board, and it is 4-1. So the batter now, Mike Zunino.
He's one of the top power hitting catchers in the game. There he goes.
There it is.
And there's your evidence. Second deck with the blast. 5-1 AL. He made that look easy.
And now they're loaded up, and Chris Bryant will get a chance to hit.
And that gets away. Digging for the plate and scoring is Machado.
Now it's Bryant climbing in right side. All loaded up, 2 outs.
To left. And it is gone.
Wow.
Jared Walsh saves the day for the American League.
That one saved at least a couple of runs. Jared Walsh out in left field steals a hit. And a man at first and nobody out. And here's Chris Taylor.
That pitch is passed, but it goes to the backstop and turns into an easy out at second.
And the National League is still alive.
Ground ball should end it. To the right side, Merrifield has got it. And the American League has won their 8th straight as they win it here tonight. 5-2. And in a game that lasted exactly 3 hours, the American League continues its dominance.
So there you have it. The AL smokes the NL ... again. 8 in a row for the American League. It was good. So I mean, it was exactly what an All-Star game ought to be. It was an okay game. It wasn't anything that was massively compelling, bottom of the ninth, walk-off kind of stuff. But the NL gave it a run late. Fernando Tatis was hilarious with the mic on. Freddie Freeman, hilarious with the mic on. You heard both of those guys live from the field. Of course, Vlad Guerrero Jr. was named your MVP. He had a couple of RBIs and a massive moonshot out to deep left field. That was it wasn't but a couple of feet from completely leaving the entire park. I mean, the guy was mashing. JT Realmuto got one, the Philly star as well. We got to see some different styles of pitching from different pitchers on both sides. Like I said, Lonzo, if you are a cat that only tunes in for the All-Star game during a Major League Baseball season, then you probably had a pretty good time last night. It wasn't anything that was going to blow you away in terms of entertainment value, but it damn sure was entertaining. To me, anyway.
Well, I
didn't watch.
Got to be honest that I enjoyed the highlights because it was just like I was watching it.
Just 2 hours and 56 minutes faster.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, it's like fast forwarding through something, but watching as you go. It was a family night last night. Tuesdays are family night. So I missed out on it. I apologize. And I know I should have watched it, but I would have fell asleep after the first inning. Here's the thing. Going to baseball games is it's just like playing golf is a lot of fun, but watching it, not the same for me. But in the end, really Tuesday nights are something that we usually do. So,
I mean, I get it.
And they, you never know when it'll be your last one. So you should enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's get existential.
I'm just trying to do whatever I can to get out of the fact that I didn't watch.
Next segment, we're going to read some Edgar Allan Poe selections while we talk about the reality of death, apparently.
Once upon a midnight dreary, as I pondered weak and weary.
Quoth the raven nevermore. That's the only line I know.
But that's just because of the wrestler.
I'm not
nothing to do with that. Yeah.
I'm not sad enough as a person to read Edgar Allan Poe. Sorry. Clip one, if you don't mind speaking. Since you called baseball boring, speaking of Fernando Tatis Jr.
All right. Let me modify that. Baseball on TV is boring. Going to a game is totally different. Just like in a couple weeks from now, when we're at the Spartanburgers game, we're going to have a blast.
That is correct.
You said
Out pitching
one,
our
right?
partners. Yes. Clip one. Speaking of baseball being boring, here's Fernando Tatis Jr. arguing that baseball isn't boring.
A lot of critics say that baseball has become too boring for the younger generation. You've been bringing some excitement to it this year. What do you say to those critics that say baseball is too boring? It needs to change.
Probably those people have never played baseball, if they're saying that. And baseball has been always a kid's game. It's always been a kid's game. And the fact that we're putting it and just remembering everybody that it's a kid's game, I feel like that's the thing for us.
Fernando, a lot of people are calling you the face of baseball. Do you embrace that? Do you want to be the face of baseball?
I do embrace it. It's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. But, at the end of the day, people can say what they say, but, I'm just the same kid on the field trying to have fun. This game is really hard, and at the end of the day, that's the thing that matters.
Fernando Tatis Jr. says, if you think baseball's boring, it's because you've never played baseball. And I have to agree with him.
I have never played organized baseball, but I played baseball in the backyard and I played softball. So
that's not baseball. That's not to say softball's not great. I love going to play some beers in the dugout softball. But baseball is a beautiful sport, remains a great sport. And the fact that we have had, the last, day and a half of conversation has been dominated about Shohei Ohtani, right? The fact that baseball has gone from the American pastime to one of the world's games has made it that much better to me. And we saw it on display last night. Let's take a break. We're back after this.
Yes, trolls. Or it's a spam thing. It just I read the first one, I was like, what the heck is that? And then it's got to be spam.
All right, quick break. We're back after this on ESPN Upstate.
What the heck is that?
Those of you on the stream, I will read that text when I will come back.
So you're not going to block it?
Oh, no. We got a text that's funnier than I just saw what came up on.
Oh, okay. So we're I thought you were. Yeah, you didn't see me make that face? Like, what the heck is that?
I thought you were responding to the text.
No. I'm sure if the text is really funny, they're probably coming at me, and that's fine. You might want to block Toheeb. I guess that's how you would say it. You have a golf cart in the next break. Not that I want it to happen, but I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often. Is that like the second time we've had that?
Yeah, it's only like the second.
Yeah, it's not bad though.
If we keep getting viewing numbers to go up, it'll start showing up in more people's algorithms. It'll happen more often. That or that was a legitimate psychic who was just drawn to us.
You heard me about golf cart, right?
Yes.
Okay. No, I don't believe you.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is ESPN Upstate. Rob Alonzo, you texter says ESPN. And I'm going to read it just like he wrote it. ESPN, you or a sports show, correct? The co-host couldn't watch the once-a-year All-Star game because of a family night, but if he watched it, he would have fell asleep in the first inning. I truly think if ESPN was aware how are you guys on molesting their name, they would drop the affiliation. Now, I want to start with this. Do you think they would drop the affiliation of the nominated best sports talk show in the state of South Carolina? As that paper right there says, I don't think they would, first off.
Let me address the texter directly. I am not a baseball fan. I have never said I was a baseball fan. And you know what? There are other people who work in sports who are not a fan of a certain sport. And that's okay. That's okay.
How dare you? How dare you not like exactly the things that guy likes and watch exactly the things that guy wants you to watch?
Although,
unbelievable.
Listen, if you can get me a day off, I'm down. For me not watching baseball, I'll take that day off. If it comes as a suspension, I'm good. Let's go.
Paid day off? I got sticky stuff all over.
Yeah. Okay. I'm fine.
I realized that was probably dirtier than it was intended.
Yeah. If that were me who said that,
it would be a problem.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, you know.
Look, you don't even like baseball. Why are you on the air?
Well, actually,
baseball is the best sport in the entire world. You just don't know. I go to a baseball game. I got my stat sheet. I'm marking all that stuff. I know all the players. I could tell you the starting lineup of the Mets from 1973. You should be on the air. You suck.
Can that be a character we do now?
Absolutely.
Can this be a character? The Lonzo hater who shows up once a week with that voice. Listen, guys, baseball is great. Look, couple of things here, Texter. That's so good. Couple of things here, Texter. Number one, Number one sports show, talk show in South Carolina. Okay, so that's an aside. That's an aside. By the way, remind me to tell the engineers to rub some grease on the door so I can get my head out later. Number 2.
Forget that. Let's widen the door.
That's what they should do. That's what we deserve as the show nominated for Best Sports Talk Show in South Carolina. Number 2. And this may shock you. This may shock you a bit. But sports fans don't like every sport. We don't like every sport. I promise you, Lonzo, it's a major week. It's the Open. It's one of my favorite events of the year because Royal St. George is a course that make the best golfers look like me. It makes them look like me. And so coming up in a little under an hour, we're going to talk golf with Savannah Lee. Coming up tomorrow and Friday, we're going to break down rounds 1 and 2. Coming up on Monday, we'll have a breakdown of the tournament. And there's going to be some guy who's going to want to fire off the text. I thought you were a sports show. Why are you talking about golf? Because he's going to think that's creative. Zoe isn't a huge baseball fan. He'll go to a game, but he's not following MLB. I'll tell you the truth. I am a big baseball fan. And I watch 6% of the games that happen all season. Not because I don't want to watch more, just because baseball games for 385 consecutive days start at 11 a.m. and run until midnight. I can't watch them all. Now, do I think Zoe should have watched the All-Star game? Yes, he'll be reprimanded accordingly.
Wow. Again, I'm down for that day off.
But at the end of the day, if you're not a baseball fan, just because it's the All-Star game doesn't make it anything more than a baseball game to other people. Chill, bro. Just hang out to the next segment where we talk about something else.
Here's the other thing. I'm not going to fake it just for you because I could fake it. Listener, I can fake it. And there's probably some guys that you listen to that you really, really like, that some producer handed them the stats and what to say. And they're really convincing, and it makes it look like they watched it. But some of these guys, they have to sleep at some point. There's no way they watch all the things that they seem to be knowledgeable of.
Yeah, I'm straight up telling you right now that one of the biggest names in sports talk doesn't watch sports. Zoe's right. He has a staff of writers that write his smoking hot takes for him. And you can hear it because when he gets challenged, he can't respond, which is why when he takes calls, it's always callers be funny about each other, but don't talk to me about sports. Anyway.
Gee, I wonder who you're talking about.
Yeah, not being specific. Anyway, phone lines are open, 844-GSP, ESPN. Grab a vine. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Go for it.
'21 Upstate golf cart available for you right now, ladies and gentlemen. To get yours, go to upstategolfcart.com. You're going to get 9 rounds of golf at 9 beautiful courses around the entire upstate. They are gorgeous courses, and you're getting all 9 for $99. Find me a better deal. Hashtag you can't. All right? You can't. There's not one. I have played, I think, 5 of the 9 courses on the golf cart so far. I'll be getting another one in either this weekend or early next week as a twilight round. I absolutely love this golf cart. I got mine when they first went on sale. I have marked off half of it so far. I got half to go, and it has been worth every single penny, ladies and gentlemen, and it will be for you too. Go to upstategolfcart.com to learn more and pick yours up. It's the 2021 Upstate Golf Cart. And texters are testy today.
That's fine.
They're feeling themselves.
Hopefully they're watching the stream so I can tell them, you know what we did on family night? I watched Superman and Flash because I'm a nerd with my family. Which is actually what I did do. Then I meant to turn it on when I went in there. I forgot.
Sean, welcome back, man. So what kind of minutes did Kevin Love get playing against Argentina yesterday?
I looked it up earlier. He got some minutes. He can't hear, though. Although he had time to message, so you're listening on the radio.
Hey there, neighbor.
There you go. Dang it.
Oh, hey there, neighbor.
Trying to figure out where they are supposed to be from. Kevin Love played for 12 minutes and 16 seconds.
Kevin Love played and the team wins. I'm not saying causation equals correlation equals causation, but
He scored 1 point. But, he also had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. That means he was playing some defense.
I really should get into. Well, you know what? You guys should get into it. If I take the time to write down a column and post it to the website, just go ahead and bet that the opposite of whatever I said was going to happen the next day. I spent an hour yesterday writing, editing, posting a smoking hot take on Greg Popovich and his Team USA. And what happens? They go out and blast Argentina. Sean wrote in on the Facebook page and said, back in the truck today, guys, so no Facebook Live, but I'm checking in on the radio. What kind of minutes did Kevin Love play against Argentina yesterday? Eyeball emoji, laughy emoji, just joking. Love the show. Got about 12 minutes in. Got a free throw under his belt, so good for a single point. I'm not saying that Kevin Love played in Team USA 1 and that's a direct cause, but you can't prove it's not yet. Just saying. K-Love. Your chance to win $1,000 in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. Your keyword for the 1 o'clock hour is track. T-R-A-C-K. Track. You're going to text track. T-R-A-C-K to 72881 for your chance to win $1,000 in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. Text track. T-R-A-C-K to 72881. When we come back, talk some NBA basketball. Game 4 tonight in Milwaukee. Suns up by a single game, but I don't know, is it must win for Phoenix here? Talk about that when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is ESPN Upstate.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, that's cool. Good thing you remembered to share appropriately that thing that you put together on that you just said you never should have put up there about the basketball team.
So I did it right that time?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
I'm on that page getting ready to load the first hour podcast, and I see it. And yes, you did.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's ESPN Upstate Hour. Numero dos goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. Thanks for hanging out with us. Got some breaking news here for you on the big stick. Breaking news, of course, brought to you by the NBA playoffs. The NBA playoffs happening right now. Don't miss out on the action. Game number 4 tonight will be live right here on ESPN Upstate. Yes, indeed. Breaking news. Richard Sherman has been arrested for burglary and domestic violence. That news broke just a little while ago. Denied bail. His case is being investigated as a felony charge, according to reports. The veteran NFL cornerback was picked up early this morning on a burglary domestic violence charge, according to jail records. The 33-year-old free agent booked at the King County Correctional Facility in Washington State. ESPN had the report first this AM. He was denied bail. It is being investigated as a felony case. The NFL's PA says in a short statement that, quote, "We will continue to monitor events closely as more facts are made available to us." Sherman, in the last few weeks, has been recently linked to his former team, the Seattle Seahawks, where he played for 7 seasons. He had also been in talks with the Dallas Cowboys as well after spending some time in San Francisco. He said, quote, "Seattle's always in the cards. I spent my entire offseason in Seattle. It's where I live. It's where my family is. So it's never out of the cards. Pete Carroll and I have had some conversations throughout the offseason. Everything needs to shake out, right? They're still figuring things out. I'm still figuring things out, but it's definitely not out of the cards." Mike McCarthy also said that there was some credibility to the rumors about Sherman coming to Dallas on the Chris Collinsworth podcast a few weeks ago. He said, quote, "Well, the one thing we talk about all the time, we're always looking to upgrade and add. There's no question there, but also the salary cap. What's in front of us too is something we're very focused on. I think that's why you saw, the 11 draft picks was by design. So we're always looking, but I definitely love the competition that we have on the back end. It'll be fun to see how it sorts out." Sherman, a 5-time Pro Bowler, spent the last 3 seasons with the 49ers, did miss much of last season because of a lingering calf strain before being released back in February. And I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to put a pretty hefty dampening effect on Richard Sherman playing in the NFL. There were already questions about his longevity, already questions about whether at 33 he was still going to have it at the time. But as of 6:08 this a.m., when the jail cell clinked in front of him, Richard Sherman's career may be circling the proverbial drain.
We don't have the details, so we don't know if this is just an accusation or if he actually did do something. Apparently, he's being accused. So who knows? Maybe it's just a misunderstanding. Probably not with these kind of charges. But if these things are indeed true, yeah, he's done.
Yeah, I agree. I think I do want to see what comes out. Look, here's the thing. Getting picked up on burglary and domestic violence charges at 6:08 in the morning, right? It's likely he was at the scene. If it was a domestic violence charge at 6 a.m., I would say, hold up. Let's get a story, right? Let's figure it out. Let's see if we can get some details, get the investigation going, etc. A burglary, and I am not a lawyer, nor did I stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. But a domestic violence charge and a burglary charge at 6:08 in the morning is very intriguing. I'm trying to come up with a way that I could see this not being, a legitimate charge. 6:08 in the morning, burglary and domestic violence. There's a lot going on there. That being said, for the record, this is pretty out of character for Richard Sherman, right?
Yeah, that's the shocking thing because he's been he's supposedly one of these smarter guys to have ever played football. So it doesn't mean that he doesn't get angry because we've seen him angry before. There's some wonderful tirades on YouTube that you can find, but it's kind of weird.
Now, for the record, according to the Redmond Police Department, it is pretty standard procedure for suspects of domestic violence to be denied bail until they can appear before a judge. They don't want you going out, getting bailed out, and going right back to the scene and to the person that you are alleged to have had a domestic violence incident with. So according to the Redmond Police in Washington, it is pretty common for a domestic violence suspect to be denied bail until they can get in front of a judge, which I would suspect will either be later this afternoon or first thing tomorrow morning. The spokesman would not confirm the name of the person taken into custody, but it has since been confirmed as Richard Sherman. They said a 911 call from the residence was received at 2 a.m. Pacific time. The person calling said that an adult male family member who did not live at the residence was attempting to force his way into the home. When police arrived, the suspect was outside the home. He fought with police, but was eventually apprehended and taken to a local hospital to be checked. After he was cleared medically, he was booked into the King County Correctional Facility. The spokesman said no one at the residence was injured. So I will say, if he fought with the cops in the front yard of a house he didn't live at but was trying to get into, not a great look.
Yeah, not a great look at all. It's weird though that the call came in at 2 and he wasn't picked up till 6, and he was
booked at 6.
Okay.
Booked at 6. So that includes call comes in at 2, takes him a couple minutes to show up. That includes confrontation, discussion, fight, arrest, etc. So because that was my first thought too. I'm like, wait, call was at 2, but he was booked at 6. He was likely arrested before that, but didn't get booked into jail until 6 a.m., which about a timeline, because ordinarily in a situation like that, again, and if I'm wrong, please, anybody with experience, call me, but that includes you're not booked till you get to the holding facility you're ultimately going to be at, and there may be stops along the way. You go down to a police station, blah, 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 who knows? But this is really out of context for Richard Sherman, right? Like Zoe said, Sherman has been considered one of the smartest cats in the league. One of the good dudes in the league, right? He's been at the forefront of many of the, for lack of better terminology, players' rights movements within the NFL that have led to some pretty monumental growth within the league. And he's been doing it for a while. I mean, all the way back to the Legion of Boom in Seattle. Richard Sherman has always kind of been on the leading edge, one of the most outspoken players, but not like most respected. There's a lot of outspoken players that are outspoken and not respected. Richard Sherman has always been one of the most outspoken and respected players in the entire National Football League. But this is just a weird one, man. This is just a weird one. Like I said, it's out of context for him as a character, and out of context for him as a player, out of character for him as a player, excuse me. Out of context for him as a player, at a point in time where he's trying to sign what will likely be his last contract in the NFL. Right? I mean, it's likely. Richard Sherman last year missed a lot of time because of that calf sprain. And there were questions about whether he was going to be ready to go at 33. I mean, at 33 for a DB, you're ancient, right? Most DBs aren't making it to 33, 34 years old. And he still had an opportunity, not just to get a contract, but those two teams, those are both contenders, man. Those are both contenders. So I'm a little taken aback by this. Now, the not receiving bail thing is not that big of a deal. All right. Now, let me phrase that. It's a big deal in that this happened.
It's not unusual.
Right. In a case with a domestic violence charge, this is expected. This is how it goes. So we'll keep an eye on this story and see what comes of it. Texter says, why? ESPN, racism didn't happen. What? Are you? All right. So.
Don't be easily trolled, Rob Brown.
I'm going to be.
Don't be easily trolled, Rob Brown.
So. There is a lot of racism that leads to false charges being brought up against African Americans in this country. It's been proven. And then there are times when American citizens commit a crime and get arrested for it. They both happen. If the cops were there responding to a 911 call, they show up, the dude fights the cops. Yeah. Now, I would be very interested to find out what the extenuating circumstances of this are. Richard Sherman doesn't strike me as the type of dude who gets into this life. But, and I'm trying to not upset anybody here, Zoe, but from the day I got here, Everybody told me Deshaun's a golden child. He's an incredible human being. He has been nothing but an upstanding citizen. The point is, though, we don't know these athletes, as the saying goes, from Adam. We don't know who they are. We think we have an idea. We think we get to know them. But at the end of the day, even the public projected image of NFL players can be dramatically different from who and what they actually are behind the scenes. And it still hurts. I got to tell you, though, I like Richard Sherman. I like Richard Sherman. I have for a while. The dude is a hard-nosed player. He's a ball hawk. He's not afraid to hit. He's smart. He went to Stanford, didn't he?
I believe it
He's
was
a Stanford guy.
Yeah.
He's not an idiot, and he's always been a leader in the ranks of NFL players. I like Richard Sherman. I guess that's why I'm a little kind of taken aback by this. It's a little shocking.
He did go to Stanford, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. This is I don't know, man. We got to wait to see if this has merit. We got to wait to see if this has merit. I mean, at this point, this has got to be, I don't know if it's career ending because Antonio Brown's still on a team. Antonio Brown, not only on a team, but he just won a Super Bowl. And Antonio Brown's cases have been disturbing as this. But I guess we'll wait for the story to come out. Is there body cam footage? Is there audio recording of the 911 call? What's the write-up of the police report looks like? I mean, I'll listen. I'll be interested to see what the case is, but this is a bummer, man. Zoe, I don't know why. You'd think after 14 years in this business, I would get to a point where I would stop being shocked that players that I think I like and think I respect do dumb things away from the football field. But when it's a guy like Richard Sherman, who has been, for the most part, considered a stand-up leader of an NFL player, it just, I don't know, man. It's kind of a bummer.
Well, you're immediately skeptical, as am I, with all their false accusations like crazy. And then you find out sometimes that person actually did do it. Yeah. So it's just a wait and see. We got to wait and see what we find out.
Yeah. I mean, again, I can sit here and say, well, this is out of character for Richard Sherman. And that's fine. It's out of the projected public character of Richard Sherman. But, Lonzo, I've never actually talked to the guy. Couldn't tell you his favorite food. Couldn't tell you his favorite movie. So it's a little hard for me to tell you I know Richard Sherman's character, which I guess is what I this was one of the big lessons that I told people to take away from the Deshaun Watson character, right? So a lot of people, in fact, when the first pieces of the Deshaun Watson story came out, and I came on the air and said, guys, this is kind of a disturbing story that's developing around Deshaun. We had caller after caller that checked in to say, Rob, no way. This is a character assassination. I know Deshaun. Deshaun's a great guy. Deshaun would never. He's above that. And then the hitch just kept rolling. And I got to tell you, since that happened, the longer we got into the Deshaun Watson stories, though, the fewer calls we had coming into the defense of Deshaun Watson.
And because of that situation, when you hear something like this with Richard Sherman, a year or two ago, you would have said, nah, there's no way. But now, because of the Deshaun Watson situation, it's hard to believe someone didn't do what they're accused of. As opposed to the other going, there's no way. But now it's like, oh, great.
Yeah, man. You don't know these athletes, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know them. We want to. I was talking with somebody last night about Freddie Freeman watching the All-Star game. Talking to one of our fellow listeners. I was like, dude, I like Freddie, man. Look at Freddie Freeman. Good-looking, all-American kid, beautiful wife, adorable kids, NL MVP reigning. Freddie Freeman's a great dude. And then and now this comes out and I'm like, God, we don't know these cats, man. In fact, the majority of them, and I'll tell you the truth, to some degree, I would say me more than Lonzo, we have a personality we project on the radio because it comes across, we hope, as entertaining. And then we have a personality that we are when we're away from the radio. People don't believe me when I say this, Lonzo. If you ever come see me in public, I don't walk up to people and say hello. I'm actually relatively shy.
See, I haven't seen you in public yet.
That's true.
So I'm waiting to see if it's not like I doubt. But if we go somewhere and I'm more personable than you, that's kind of weird.
Tonight, because we'll be around people we know.
Yeah. I'm not talking about tonight.
But like if we go to a concert or something, like I'm usually the
or
dude.
if let's say we're at a baseball game.
Yeah. I don't walk up unless I'm in business mode. I don't walk up and say hi to people because I don't project myself. The point that we're making here is when you when you, God, I hate to use this word, but I don't know a better one, experience someone who has a public aura, you are not getting their true self with rare exception. You're not getting their true self. So you don't know these athletes. You don't know who they are, where they came from, et cetera, et cetera. Quick break. We'll come back here in just a minute from right now. And Lonzo gets to blame something on Tom Brady. That's next on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
I like.
You do?
Let me kill that promo. Two people are at fault in that.
Yep.
But, maybe just slip through. It happened.
Sure. No.
So watch the NXT this morning. I'm guessing you haven't watched it yet.
I've not watched it yet. Did we get our first Cameron Grimes the Butler experience? Perfect.
Several. I will say, and this is not spoiling because this is an opinion, it was the highlight of the entire show. Those guys together, it's magic. It shouldn't be, but it is. So Friday, I will not be in here for Twitter trending topics. Got to remember to tell Diesel because Angelo needs to be off again. Then someone's not available to fill it. So. Didn't we have a guest at 1:30?
1:30, yeah. So I'll do a quick in and out here.
Okay.
Clip 11 though.
All right.
I told her 1:35, so. Tampa Bay had their Stanley Cup boat parade, and it was incredible because of course it was. Because of course it was. It's what Tampa does, man. They go full Florida man on it. We will start with Nikita Kucherov. Now remember, Kucherov had already made himself a legend based on the Stanley Cup winning post-game presser, where my dude was clearly a handful of Bud Lights deep when he took to the stand, was hilarious while on it, then picked up a sponsorship from Bud Light to be a spokesman, and ran with the product placement. during the boat parade. Nikita Kucherov being interviewed on a boat by a reporter who was not ready.
Unreal. All the people right here, unreal. Love them all. Let's party hard. Our time, baby. Back to back. That's how we do it.
What do you think of this team?
Unbelievable. Nobody can beat us. Back-to-back years. It's an unreal team. Everybody would play hard. I wish we could keep everybody, but it's business. But as of right now, let's party hard. Let's enjoy it. We deserve it.
And in Tampa, there's a boat parade. No regular parades. We get on boats. How do you like that?
Unreal. I think nobody else has done that before. It's unreal. Look how many people here, how many people on the boat. It's just unreal.
Well, congratulations, guys. I mean, Circuit Champ, you want to say anything? Thank you.
Hey, Chef,
how did I know that was coming?
That's what we do, baby.
How does
Nikita Kucherov. The Ruskies know how to party, baby. Ends up dumping about 3 Bud Lights over the top of the head of that reporter who's on the boat with him. He said, let's party hard. Nobody can beat us. And then the party came to a head because an unnamed party, we don't know who, dropped the Stanley Cup and dented the cup itself, which now has to be sent back to Canada to be repaired before making its way back down to Tampa to continue the celebration. And Lonzo, somehow this is Tom Brady's fault.
Absolutely, because Tom Brady has decided that trophies don't really mean that much, and you can toss them around, including from boat to boat. So why should the Stanley Cup be treated with the reverence it's deserved? So someone dropped it and dented it.
I don't know what happened to the cup. I'm assuming it had to have gotten dropped.
That argument doesn't work for this particular trophy, and I'm aware of that because people drink out of it. Yeah. People do all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah,
baptize their child in it.
Yeah, so
somebody took it shark diving at one point, which was incredible.
I am guessing that it's been dropped before.
Many times. I knew hockey was my favorite celebration when I watched a dude fill it with Jaeger and chug it. Chugged Jaeger out of it. That's what I knew. This is a trophy celebration I want to be a part of one day. So it gets dent, and I don't think any of them even cared. I don't think they just kept partying. Florida man gonna Florida man.
That's why we don't know who bent it, because who knows when it got bent.
Yeah. I don't know that they knew it got. That seems like somebody woke up from the after party the next day and looked at the trophy and had a hangover moment. Like Nikita looks over at, I don't know, Maroon and goes, hey, this is bad, no? This seems bad. And had to put it on a plane back to Montreal to get it fixed.
I was going to say, then there's a sound of a panther that's in the bathroom and, some other stuff like that.
Oh, I love it. Quick break. When we come back, Savannah Lee joins us to talk a little bit about the Open getting set tomorrow, the British Open, ready to roll, the final major of the year. We'll break that down for you next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Number I don't know. I mean, we've cheered bad guys in the past.
It would be such a clash to what they projected, though. Which, of course, anytime they go to Canada, it's like the opposite of everything already. But you have a Harley in the next week. I just saw a thing that said the first SmackDown Live is in front of a crowd. I can speak to Savannah, please. I'm doing Rob Brown chat. Doing good. How are you? Cool. All right, we got about a minute left. Hang on. See, I shocked her by asking her how she was doing, and she wasn't prepared.
See, small talk is fun, isn't it?
No, it's not. It absolutely is not. Small talk's for short people.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is ESPN Upstate. Rob Alonzo and you, 844-GSP-ESPN. To the phone lines we go. Welcome in a friend of mine on and off the air. She is a writer for golflink.com. We take like 7.5% of the credit for her being a nationally recognized writer at golflink.com. My friend Savannah Lee joins us here on the Rob Brown Show to talk a little bit about the Open Championship. Savannah, good to have you back, lady.
Good to be back. I'm so glad you called it the right name.
Yeah,
I am honestly so glad.
I wrote it down on the show prep in like size 33 bolded font this time. Because while I am used to looking like an idiot, Savannah, I don't like to like repeat it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you learned that. There's so many others that need to learn it.
We'll get them there. Savannah Lee joins us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. All right. It is Open Championship time, Savannah. The 149th edition returns to Royal St. George's for the first time since 2011. And look, we'll get into some of the players. We'll get into the event and what it means after not getting to play the Open last year. But I love this course, Savannah Lee, because maybe more than any other major, these guys are so unfamiliar with it. It's such a different style of golf than they're used to. It's an unpredictable course. It can be hot in the morning and cold in the afternoon. It can be really nice and calm in the morning and a tempest in the afternoon. This course can make the best golfers in the world look like me. And yes, I do take a little enjoyment when these guys are out there hacking away at it.
Yeah, after looking up a lot of the history and stuff at Royal St. George's, I was just like, wow, this course can, chew up the guys and spit them out. And honestly, like, I'm excited for it because I haven't gotten to see an Open in 2 years, and I want to see what links golf courses and links courses in general can do to the PGA Tour. We all heard, Brooks like, well, I like links golf courses, but this one is not my favorite. And I think it's because there's so many different things that you need to know to be able to get successfully around this course. But I'm excited about it, and it doesn't get any better than not knowing what's going to happen weather-wise each and every day, because that makes you have to prepare that much more. I'm just excited. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited since it hasn't been played since 2011, but it is the most played outside of Scotland. And I thought that was interesting. So the history is deep at Royal St. George's.
One of my favorite things, and you pointed this out, Savannah has a introduction to Royal St. George's. If you have not seen it yet or unfamiliar with the course, go to golflink.com. It's right there, as it should be, at the top of the homepage, damn it. So in your introduction to Royal St. George's, Savannah, you point out something I find very interesting, which is that no two successive holes play in the same direction. So it's not really like you can get we talked about Kiowa a couple of weeks ago, where you go out 4, you come back 4, and so you can kind of start to feel out consistency in the winds. Not only can the winds change on a dime, on a minute's notice, Savannah, but on top of that, if you do feel like you start to get a feel for the wind, you're playing a different direction on every hole. How interesting does that make this course, especially for the guys like Bryson that are going to try to get that ball hanging up in the air to add some distance on a links course?
I think it's going to make them be a little bit more strategic in where they're bombing it and when they're going to do so, because, like you said, it is so unpredictable. And I think that's just another test that is why, the Open is probably, to the Masters, my second favorite major. And because it is, these are different golf courses than there are in the States. And I think that's the best thing about it, is we're fixing to see something really challenge the Bombers to be really strategic. And I want that, because as much as I love to see them hit it that far and everything, after the match win, I kind of want him to put Bryson down a few notches.
Oh, the hate is real from Savannah Lee. The hate is real. So this course, notoriously difficult for these guys, right? You went back to the last time it was played here, back in 2011. Only one hole played consistently under par, which is the par 5 7th. The second easiest hole in 2011 played at even par for the tournament. This is a course that, again, we talked about the fact that it is going to challenge these guys, but we're not talking challenge like, oh, they're going to go out there and give it a good run and end up 9, 10, 11, 12 under for the tournament. You might very well have a winner that's 3 or 4 under at best, it looks like.
At best. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually have a maybe over par situation going through at least the first 3 days. Maybe +2 or +3, and then on the final day they get to like the -1 or -2. But it's not going to be what we've seen the last few weeks in terms of low scores. It's not going to be anything like that. I think that's good for golf. I'm one that enjoys those 19 under scores, but at the same time, I love also seeing the guys struggle, because it makes me feel like they're a little closer to being normal than these incredible athletes on golf courses that can play anything and make it all look easy. And so that's one of the most things that I'm looking forward to, is them, having a slice of humble pie or whatever they call it over there. And and so I'm, after researching this course and seeing just how tough the par 4 is, or excuse me, sorry. The 4th, the 8th, and the 18th, all those are par 4s, and just how difficult and how many bogeys and double bogeys that they hit in 2011. And I'm just like, well, are we going to see those similar numbers this year? Or they've kind of, shortened the course about 22 yards from the last time it played. But I don't know. I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens and see just how difficult it's going to be. Because right now the weather and everything seems like it's going to be nice to the golfers, but like we talked about before, it could change on a dime. And if it does, 4 and 8 are both 2 holes that I think really, really could challenge it. And then the 16th, or not the 16th, excuse me, it's the 14th. I think it is the 14th, the one that is No, anyway, I'm not going to go there because I don't want to sound dumb. My mind just went vague on that one. But all of these, actually, no, it's the 16th that is the most famous hole out there. I believe it is. Anyway, Suez Canal or something like that. I remember doing it. I don't know why my mind just went blank. I'm trying to
literally,
it, but it's not. Anyway, this course is going to spit them up and chew them out. I don't think we're going to see really low scores. I don't even think we might see a score under par at all. So that's what I'm excited about.
What's interesting, the biggest change, and I think this is the biggest change that fans are going to have to pay attention to as well, is, we get used to in the rest of the major tournaments, we get used to these guys firing at the flag. I mean, hitting it to inches consistently. But here, we talking more, to use a cliche phrase, kind of a ground game style of golf. You see guys that are hitting a shot to 12 or 15 inches because they're keeping the ball low. It's got to travel on a more flat plane than that big, high looping arc that lets you set up onto the green with a ton of control. You're trying to get to 12 to 15 feet and hope you get a good roll. Anything higher, that thing's going to get caught up in the wind and could go who knows where. It is such a different feel than the other three majors, which I think is what makes this so attractive. If that is the case, who do you think, if anybody, gets an advantage from having to play this style of golf instead of what we're more traditionally used to in a major tournament?
Well, I think the English golfers probably have a little bit of an advantage because they've played this course. They've played in courses like that all growing up. But I also think that there are guys like John Rahm and Brooks Koepka, because it's a major championship. Brooks always finds a way to play well. And I really like the fact that, he kind of started on the European tour and playing overseas a good bit before getting into the States and being as successful as he is now. So I think that's somebody else to kind of keep an eye out for in terms of playing on links courses, because he likes them. Even though this isn't one of his favorite courses, he plays extremely well on links golf courses. And so Brooks is definitely somebody that I'm kind of like keeping my eye out for. And then maybe even Victor Hovland. He's, a European himself, and Victor's game is where it is because he plays, what am I saying? Victor's game is incredible. And this is kind of coming back home and him being able to play on courses that he probably grew up playing on. So there's another guy. And then for some reason, Shane Lowry is screaming out to me along with, and this is a really big black horse pick, but Harris English is playing so well right now and playing so consistently that I wouldn't even count him out. It really bothers me that so many people try to count him out just because he isn't, a big name. And his game is speaking for himself right now. The last 2 years, he's just been one of the most consistent guys on tour. And he's somebody that I just kind of have a dark horse circle around, but he could surprise some people this week.
I will make you feel better here. I don't think we see Bryson playing on Saturday. All right. I don't think we see DeChambeau playing. I have incredibly low expectations. Making the cut would be a win for him this week. And not because Bryson's not a great golfer, but DeChambeau has gotten to the point where in his scramble golf, he hits the ball very high with his attacking irons. And you can't do that here. He loves to challenge greens, which is the wrong mindset here. Sometimes you've just got to accept that it's lay up and get close on the follow through. I'm going to make you feel better and say that Bryson will not be contending on even Saturday. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree. It's funny too, because Mark Slayback on ESPN has him as potential guys who can win. And I just don't think this is his course for him. The grip it and rip it strategy has never been tested on a golf course like this, but the wind and the weather and all of those different elements that come into play, like there's so many different spots on the golf course that he could hit it into and it just roll one way or roll another way. And there's just so much to take into account or whatever, what's the word? I don't know what is wrong with me today, Rob.
It's my fault, Savannah. Do like everybody else and just blame it on me.
Well, I don't know. I stayed up late trying to get used to staying up late to watch coverage and stuff, and so I'm still working on. It's 2 p.m. and I'm still working on adjusting.
Starbucks is your friend, Savannah.
I'm Team Duncan. anyway, new caddy, and then on a golf course that you don't really know and haven't really been able to test that grip it and rip it strategy that he has stuck out with. I don't know. I don't see him sticking around for the weekend. I wouldn't bet on him. I would not put any money on him. And if he does, so be it. I'll, be crow again. But I just don't see him contending this week.
All right, give me your list. Your top 3. Who's going to show up on Sunday?
Oh, I'm going to have to go with John Rahm, Patrick Reed, and Harris English.
I like it. John Rahm on my list as well, no doubt about it. Savannah Lee, make sure you check her stuff out. It is at golflink.com. She's got an introduction guide to Royal St. George's if you're unfamiliar with it, right there on the front page. Savannah, homie, it is always good to talk to you. We'll get you on next week to recap the tournament.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rob. And I promise, guys, the intro is much better than this interview was. It was just a struggle, guys. But
listen,
we'll be better next week, Rob.
only I get to beat somebody up on the show. You be nice to you. Thank you, Savannah. Talk to you next week. That's Savannah Lee. Follow her on Twitter at SportsGirlSL. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Harley.
Harley-Davidson of Greenville wants you to experience the Harley-Davidson lifestyle. And listen, I've been living it for a number of years, and it's beautiful, man. Right now, go to Harley-Davidson of Greenville, and you may qualify for rates on new and in-stock HD models as low as 2.99% APR. Good luck finding a deal better than that. Or if you are right now already on the back of a Harley and you want to upgrade, they have got some incredible upgrades right now that you can get on special. The new Dyno 110 to get your bike upgraded. And if you are looking to trade up and into a Harley Davidson, you can go to upstateharley.com, and get a value on your trade-in in 60 seconds, and you won't find better trade-in value anywhere else in the upstates. Plus, tomorrow afternoon, they are doing the Let Freedom Ring dinner ride, kicking off at 6 p.m., taking a ride from Harley-Davidson of Greenville to Dark Corner Grill. Make sure you go check that out. All of that information, their calendar events, and all the different incredible deals that you can get are right now at their showroom, 30 Chrome Drive, or check out their website at upstateharley.com. It's Harley-Davidson of Greenville.
Wow, more stuff about Richard Sherman.
Oh, yeah?
Allegedly, fighting with police became so bad that a canine was used to subdue him.
Wow.
Also, he allegedly crashed his vehicle into a cement freeway barrier before advancing on foot to the home he allegedly tried to enter.
Wow.
So because of that, the Washington State Police also are involved in the case due to the vehicular incident. Sherman faces a hit-and-run investigation along with a possible charge of damaging Washington Department of Transportation property.
Where's that coming from?
Pro Football Talk tweeted it, and part of it came from TMZ, so it's got to be true. And, DM that to you or whatever if you want it.
It's literally. Keegan coming in clutch. Did you miss that? Do you get where that's from? Excuse me, I'm going to turn the mic off for just a moment. All right, mic's back open.
Hey, at least now we know where the line is. It's different for every person.
All right, we're getting more details regarding the Richard Sherman investigation. Pro Football Talk has put out a tweet and an article that connects to a TMZ article. And it makes me sick reading TMZ stuff.
Come on. TMZ has become reputable as far as breaking news goes. Whether you like it or not, because of how they started, now there's a grain of truth with everything that you have to look at it and unfortunately believe it. And no, I'm not being paid by TMZ. If I was, I wouldn't be here probably.
Via TMZ, they have a report up. They have been updating this story as it has gone along. Via TMZ.com, Richard Sherman had to be apparently taken down by police canine after trying to break into a family member's home in Redmond, Washington before his arrest on Wednesday morning. According to law enforcement, a Redmond Police Department spokesperson, being reported by TMZ Sports, he says they told TMZ Sports that the incident went down at 2 a.m. According to the spokesperson, officers showed up to a residence in the Redmond area after receiving a call from the occupants inside the home who claimed a family member who did not live there was trying to break in. Cops say when they arrived on scene, they identified Sherman as the suspect and claim he became uncooperative and combative during questioning. Sherman allegedly fought with cops so much, we're told this is their words, we're told a canine was deployed to take down the NFL player and help bring him into custody. Cops say he was taken to the hospital to be looked at for possible injuries before he was eventually booked at the county jail. The Redmond PD spokesperson also says Washington State Patrol is involved in the case after Sherman allegedly crashed his vehicle into a cement freeway barrier before advancing on foot to the home. We'll address that more in the next hour, but before we get there, your chance to win a grand in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. Your keyword for the upcoming 2 o'clock hour is Stripe. Like Richard Sherman is, okay, never mind. Stripe, S-T-R-I-P-E, Stripe, S-T-R-I-P-E. Text that word to 72881 for your chance to win a grand in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. Quick break. We'll break down the NBA Game 4 when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
So alcohol and or drugs or both have to be involved.
I got to go drugs because here's the thing. I know some people get angry and fight on alcohol. That doesn't sound like it.
Or someone threatened or said something that made him so mad that
Not that it's victim blaming, but what led up to this? Because this is so. It's again, we don't know Richard Sherman, but it's very out of character. What led up?
All right, Keegan, do not spoil because Rob and I, neither one of us saw it. Now, I'm not going to get to watch it till later on tonight.
That's a if that happened around my house, I'd assume that dude was on meth story.
Ooh, the Titan season 3 trailer's out. So make sure I watch that after the show. It looks like the same one I've already seen. No, actually, it's not. Never mind. Because there's Tim Drake.
Keyword was stripe, S-T-R-I-P-E, stripe, S-T-R-I-P-E. All right. Sometimes something comes through that's so ridiculous that's not sports that I have to read it. It's not funny, but it is. Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro was hospitalized on Wednesday, according to his office, Lonzo, with a case of chronic hiccups. Chronic hiccups. Bolsonaro, 66 years old, went to the military hospital in Brasilia, Brazil, and is expected to be under observation for 24 to 48 hours, although not necessarily. They want to keep an eye on him. A release said he's feeling good and doing well. It was reported that he had been admitted for unspecified medical testing after feeling abdominal pains on Wednesday, and he has been suffering hiccups now for over a week without relief.
All right, so I've heard you sneeze before. So if your hiccups are anywhere near as violent as your sneezes, then I can imagine that you'd have to be hospitalized after, that many days. My hiccups also are violent to the point where when I get them, I can't get rid of them. And it sounds like, do you ever see Revenge of the Nerds?
Yeah, years ago.
Nerds. No, the nerd laugh. That's what my hiccups sound like. That loud and that obnoxious to the point where my family ends up in tears every time I get them. So I can imagine if I had hiccups like that for a couple of days, yeah, but you can't cure hiccups. So what do they do? Keep oxygen on hand? I mean, I don't know. What do you do?
So what is the best cure for hiccups? But the one I've always been told is hold your breath and count as close to 100 as you can get, right? Just hold your breath and count to 100 in your head as close as you can get, because hiccups are, and I forgot what somebody told me what they are, like how they actually work. It's an involuntary contraction of your diaphragm, right? Which is the muscle that pushes your lungs to help you take oxygen in and out. It's an involuntary reaction. And once it starts, it also, when it forces the air up, it contracts your vocal cords, which kind of puts a break in the air, which is where the sound comes from when you have them. They can occur individually. They can come in bouts. Like you can just have a hiccup or you can have the hiccups. And this cat has had the hiccups for a week. Dude, if I have them for 3 minutes, I am driven to the brink of insanity. You ever had the hiccups while you're doing an on-air show, Lonzo?
I've been lucky enough to not have that happen yet, but I have been present when it has happened to somebody else.
It's happened to me. I was doing a night show. And now the fun part was, here in the palatial ESPN Upstate Studios, the home of now not one but two sports shows named the best sports talk show in South Carolina, we have this fun cough button that will turn off our mic without turning our mic off. So we can do fun sound effects like that, which I'm going to stop because Lonzo looks like he's about to murder me.
Well, because I think the cough button is stupid.
Are you kidding me?
No, because there's an off button right there.
Yeah, but this one I just touch and release.
So it was really put there for someone to do what you're just doing now, which I didn't know was possible to do until this moment, because no one ever uses the cough button. But,
I use it 3 times a show.
Most people just turn it off.
And it's usually not for coughing, right? I've used it to cover up sneezes. I've used it to cover up coughs. I've used it to cover up hiccups. I used to work at a station that did not have a cough button. All right, I'm done.
When I get that email saying make him stop.
So I had a case of a chronic case of the hiccups during the show one time. Lonzo, an hour into my 4-hour nighttime show, I turned it on the syndicated bird and left. I'm like, I'm done. I can't. It's incredible how frustrating it is to be trying to talk about baseball when every 2 seconds you have to stop because you got a hiccup coming and you can't fill it with other sound, right? So anyway.
Well, I don't want to jinx myself, but that happens to me on Saturday. I'm doing the whole show with hiccups.
You all suffer my wrath.
Just because I think it would be funny.
So I've had it happen to me where I've had them for, 30, 45 minutes, and I've quit my radio show because I'm just like, whatever, I'm going to turn it on to, I think we were Sporting News Radio at the time. I'm like, you guys listen to Sporting News. I'll be back tomorrow. And it will drive you to the brink of insanity. This dude has had them for a week.
When it happened to me on our sister station on WRD, it didn't happen to me, but it happened to another host. That host, and I don't want to give away the gender, looked at me for help, and for a moment, I thought about not helping just because I thought it was hilarious. Then I helped, but just like, okay, you need me now, do you?
I'm glad good briefly overcame evil for that moment.
Well, I am a broadcast professional.
Yeah, of course. A week.
A week. Yeah, that's rough. That is definitely rough.
A week.
And you talk about 2 minutes. My hiccups usually last probably about 10 minutes. And I think I've got them gone. And then I'll just be talking or something else. And then boom, the nerd laugh hits.
Sean has texted in. Sean says, and I've never heard this. Sean says, drink a glass of water with a paper towel on top. Drink the water in the glass through the paper towel. Works every time.
Yeah, I don't like wet paper. So
I'd rather have the hiccups.
Yeah, wet paper. I'd rather have the hiccups
than eat wood pulp.
No thanks. I will hold my breath as long as I can, and then I will swallow the air, which is hard to do. I don't know if you've tried to do that before, and it's fairly effective. I've also tried, people say a tablespoon of peanut butter. I don't understand why that works, but it has worked on occasion. In the end, I think it's all in your head. And if it's a placebo to a certain degree. If you think it's going to work, it's going to work.
Texter says, I knew a girl in high school that had the hiccups for 2 months. I don't know. I think I would select medically induced coma at that point. Just put me under and bring me back when it stops. Just put me down and wake me up when it's over. 2 months?
I think I would take up yodeling because it would be interesting to yodel and hiccup at the same time.
Yodelay-hoo. Just because Zoe and I talked about this. I go down rabbit holes. Like I Wikipedia hiccups, and now I'm down the rabbit hole while I'm trying to do the show.
See, I think it's a radio thing, or maybe it's a producer or former producer thing, because you're so used to having to look things up.
Yeah.
Because you do this, I do this. Our former office mate Chris also does this. It's just, but he's worse than you. He will, like 2 hours later, I'd still be, and it's like, dude, don't you have work to get done?
I bookmarked the hiccup Wikipedia page so I could go back later and read it. I like to know things. I don't know why. I just like to learn things. So the leading theory right now, the leading theory of why we still get hiccups, is that it was an evolutionary advantage. It was an evolutionary advantage. The hypothesis here, because the hiccup is your diaphragm expelling air from your stomach, not necessarily from your lungs, but it's expelling air from your stomach, which is what a burp is, right? A burp is when you're expelling air from your digestive system because there's too much in there, which is why if you swallow a bunch of air rapidly, then you will burp it back up. It's to expel the air. Well, the theory here is that these are mini burps, right? A baby doesn't have the diaphragm strength to actually burp. And so the hiccup, being a mini burp, would have been used to expel the air from your digestive system, because in a child that has a tiny stomach, if there's air in the stomach, there's less room for high calorie and nutrient rich milk as a mammal. And so it's a mammalian response. It's only a hiccup was only found in mammals. It's a mammalian response that we would have developed as kids to get rid of the air in our digestive tract so that we could digest more milk, hold more milk in our digestive system, which is where our calories and nutrients would have come in from early in our evolutionary process. And basically, though we don't necessarily need it as well, it's a semi-vestigial leftover from our early mammalian evolutionary days, when we would have needed to get air out of our infant stomachs to be able to hold more milk, to have more calories and nutrients, et cetera, et cetera.
All right, a couple of things real quick. Baseball guy from earlier just drove off the road because you said mammalian at least 3 or 4 times, which I've never heard used before. I understood the context after you used it. Then you used the word vestigial, which I have no idea what that is, but I'm going to look it up. So don't tell me.
Don't tell you.
No.
I can tell you right now, and you don't have to look it up, and then you can go down a related rabbit hole.
All right, well, go ahead and tell me.
So vestigial is anything that is left over from our earlier mammalian evolutionary development that is either not used anymore or is not used for the same purpose. For instance, I'll give you one just because I'm a nerd. Did you know, Lonzo, that whales have a pelvis? So a whale, like a blue whale, has a pelvis, and it actually has 2 tiny leg bones from what would have been their legs when they were evolving from animals like Pakicetus, which is their ancestor, which was a land-dwelling mammal that then made its way into the sea and evolved into the whales we know today, which is why whales are mammals, right? Because they came from a land-dwelling mammal named Pakicetus, and there's others, Archaeocetus and others, that as they transitioned from Pakicetus and Archaeocetus and these other land-dwelling mammals into ocean-dwelling mammals, they lost their legs because they weren't needed anymore, but they still have the pelvis, which is the anchor's 4 legs, and they still have 2 tiny little what would have been leg bones. They haven't lost those altogether, but since they're not needed. Emus, because of their days when they are, they used to be dinosaurs. They evolved from dinosaurs. Emus, if you actually look at the emu wing, which by the way can't move, they have lost all the muscles to move them with. So an emu has a wing, but those wings cannot move. There's no muscle or not strong enough muscles to move them. But if you look, not only do they still have hand bones, which they don't need anymore because they don't have hands nor can they move their arms, and there's actually claws on the end of an emu's wing. There's 2 or 3 little small claws, which would have come from literally raptors because they used to be used to be dinosaurs. So an emu still has hand bones, and they have claws that back in the day the raptors would have used to hold and pin down prey. So you can still see those are vestigial leftover traits from previous evolutionary incarnations of our modern day animals. Nerd stuff, you're welcome.
All I gotta say is I've had emu before, and it's delicious.
It is delicious. It is delicious.
You can actually get emu around here if the place still exists.
And if Jurassic Park ever does come real, be careful around the Utah Raptors, not the Velociraptors. Velociraptors were only about 2 feet tall. They weren't very big. They're not threatening. But Utahraptors, which are more in line with what we saw as the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park, if they see you eating emu, they'll be pissed because that's their family member. They are directly lineal related to today's emus and chickens, by the way. Chickens are velociraptors.
Dear program director for ESPN Upstate, I was listening to your fine program today, and I tuned in, and I heard the word pelvis used 5 times, and then I got a science lesson.
You're welcome.
Please ask said host if you should keep him to stick to sports.
At ESPN, everyone knew when Rob said last time on the cough button that it would not be the last time.
Of course not. Especially after I said I've never heard anyone do that before. Now it's a normal thing.
You're welcome. ESPN, mammalian or mammalian? It's mammalian. Mammalian. Sorry, I'll enunciate better. Mammalian, as in from the line of mammals of which we are a part as great apes.
How much money you want to make when you grow up? I'm a million.
He's so pleased with himself about that joke. At ESPN, emu or emo?
You did say emo. Now, an emu probably wouldn't taste as good, and it would make you sad afterwards.
Okay, Hannibal. At ESPN, so when someone hiccups, we need to tell them to grow the bleep up. You know what? I'm going to now.
That's proof of listening, because you could look at it that way for sure.
Hey, you can tell me that my nerd stuff kills people. This guy took a lesson away from it. All right. 844-477-3776. If you want to call in and tell me to shut the bleep up, you're welcome to.
No, do not do that.
Dump button. Mark Ryan just tweeted, in observance of hashtag National Nude Day, I will host the entire 3:00 Eastern hour.
See, you just took away one of my Twitter trending topics. Thanks.
No, I didn't. You can still bring it up, and then we'll just make fun of Mark.
Oh, I'm definitely bringing it up.
It's a good thing we work in a verbal and audio only format, huh? Basketball talk when we come back. Let's break down game 4.
You know why we do? Because only some of us have the ability to stream live, which you can look at right now at ESPN Upstate.
And we promise we'll never do the show in the nude.
Well, you can promise. I'm not.
Again. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
Prisma Health right here in the Upstate, the official healthcare provider of both the Gamecocks and the Tigers. And if those two universities agree on something, it should be something you agree with too, because they don't get along at all. But both of them utilize Prisma Health to take care of their athletes when they need medical attention. And they want to make all of the efficiency that makes those two universities agree that they are the right choice for the job available to you as well. You're going to get the exact same opportunities as those athletes to make sure that you and your family have the best available health care in the area. That's why they have over 2,400 doctors within their network. That's why they have locations all around the Midlands and the Upstate. And that is why you can have a virtual visit. So if you can't make it because your day is just slammed up with the kids and the job and the thises and the that's, you can meet with your doctor virtually, face-to-face over your computer from wherever you are. And with their MyChart feature, all your information is kept streamlined, condensed, accessible, and confidential and secure right there on the website. Go to prismahealth.org to learn more. Prismahealth.org. It's our friends at Prisma Health right here in the Upstate. Yeah, Adam. You know, I used to do Shark. I need to check out Shark Week. I bailed. Shark Week used to legitimately be one of my favorite weeks of the year on TV. I loved Shark Week. Like it was something I took time out of my schedule for. The DVR was full of the shark stuff. But it got to the point. Where more of the stuff on Shark Week was hypothetical and what do they call them? Mockumentaries, right? Like I watched one year that was like trying to prove that Carcharodon Megalodon was still alive, that the Meg was still real, and they had evidence for it. And it was just a fictional movie, right? Like it was just a fictional movie, and they passed it off as a documentary on Shark Week. And I'm down with there being entertaining stuff during Shark Week. But to me, like,
so we're talking about Sharknado. It's a natural phenomenon.
Yes, it's real. Totes real, you guys. Sharks are one of, if not the most fascinating creatures on planet Earth. I mean, sharks are older than dinosaurs, right? Like sharks have been around since before the dinosaurs. They are the apex predator of the ocean. They don't have to evolve into it. They've evolved to be the perfect killing machine. They are incredibly fascinating creatures. You do not need to make stuff up to make sharks more entertaining. They are as entertaining as they need to be. And when they started doing the mockumentary stuff on Shark Week, I was like, I'm out. I'm done. This is you've crossed the line. I would rather just go to YouTube and watch good shark documentaries. But I also want it to be entertaining. I saw Tiffany Haddish did a show. I think there were like 2 or 3 other comedians that did stuff with sharks. And that's the stuff I'm down for. Like, here's what's really entertaining about a shark, and also a comedian doing
Chris Hemsworth is diving with sharks. So if you ever want to see Thor,
really,
they've been advertising that on Shark
Here
Week.
for it.
Yeah.
Steven says, Dr. Rob, involuntary response correct, but I was told that your brain does this to keep you from drowning. You can drown from a teaspoon of water, so you have to trick your brain that you are not. That's why it's a theory, right? It's a theory, and not in the scientific use of the word theory, right? Because, like, for instance, the theory of evolution, the theory of gravity, science uses the word theory differently than the common everyday lingo of theory, right? In our day-to-day, theory means a guess. Like, we have a theory, it's a guess. But in science, theory actually is the most proven that a thing can be. So the theory of evolution. Evolution's a fact. We have overwhelming evidence, incontrovertible evidence. So it's a theory of gravity. We know that gravity is real. We can show that gravity is real. We can show gravity waves now. It's a theory of gravity, which means that it's effectively the final word on the topic. But this is what you're talking about, Stephen. It is an evolutionary theory. There is evidence backing it up, but it's not incontrovertible. And your explanation here is another very good one and a very likely one. And both of those things could be true. It could be both of those things are true, that we evolved it for multiple reasons. You can have convergent evolution where an evolutionary trait solves 2 problems at the same time. And that might be what this is. So, and that's why you come to a sports talk radio station, baby.
My considerable amount of hair is now hurting.
Oh, look who decided to show up.
Hurting
today.
With pain. Painful.
Dadgums.
Please come save us from the evolutionary talk.
Been talking dinosaurs and evolution on the
Come
show
back.
today. If you were worried that, we were getting too carried away with sports. Stone Man's here.
What are you doing?
Hanging out.
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, your mic was on. His was not.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been graced with the presence of a legend. I was going to talk NBA.
But he walks in and just turns the mic on like he owns the place. Have you noticed that?
I was going to talk NBA because, Stone Man was going to come in here and talk Euro football with us on Monday, and then he didn't do that.
I was so distraught that I had to wait.
Do people know where you're from, or am I about to bust a big secret? Like, have you divulged that info to your listeners?
Yeah, they know it.
Okay.
Because it was 2 years today, I was over in London.
Gotcha. So Stone Man is a Brit.
Right, yeah.
Wait.
Brit.
What?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's bloody marvelous, isn't it?
This entire accent he puts on the radio, complete fraud.
It is.
Complete fraud.
Yeah.
So Stone Man is a Brit. And on Friday last week, I said on the show, the Brits are going to lose, not because they're not a better team, but because they find new and creative ways to break Three Lions fans' hearts every year. And the next step up is to make it to the final in Euro 2020 and then find a way to lose it in a heartbreaking way. And Stone Man caught me in the hallway Friday and went, "You're wrong. I'll see you Monday."
Yeah.
I was right, and I did not see you Monday.
Well, first, I'd like to know why the hell you yelled.
This is how I talk.
And I thought I was loud.
No.
You gotta be on this side.
Well, you got a glass screen.
No. I'm talking about fading up and down.
This glass screen, it was not to put in to protect Zoe from COVID. It was put in to protect him from the sound waves. The next person who calls
That
me
and
loud
spittle.
will not be the first.
Yeah, right.
Will not be the first.
But no, it was a hell of a game, and I gotta give everybody credit for the game. I didn't like the racial thing that came out after.
Yeah, that sucked.
That sucked, and those people are blankholes.
Boris Johnson went off. He told them yesterday, if you are one of the people coming after these three players with racist comments, quote, "Go back under the rock you crawled out from." That's a prime minister, dude.
Go blimey.
Golly.
Well, the thing that angers me about the whole thing was just how did why would you turn it into that? And that anyway. But that's I'm not even going to give them credit for it or whatever. But I will give the lads a hell of a lot of credit because they gave it their all.
Sure.
And I know you're not a big fan of penalty kicks.
No, I hate it. Hate it. Hate that that's how we ended that game.
The taste is in your armpit. The thing that
He's British, Lonzo. We just have to accept that he says weird words.
Right. Yeah. The thing that gets me was it was heartbreaking the way it ended, but it was a great way that it ended because of just at the end of the game, you're like going, "Oh, is he going to do it?" And
my gut was in knots, and I'm not a fan of either team.
Yeah.
And my gut was in knots. So here's the thing. So originally Snowman was going to come on to briefly talk about the game, but then argue about whether PKs is or is not a good way to end games. He argues it is. I say it's not.
It is.
I will not argue that it's not incredibly compelling television. It is.
It is.
It is the most gut-wrenching 10 minutes of sports you will find in any sport anywhere. And also because if a game goes to PKs, it's because the game means something. Someone has to win that game. Regular season football, you can see ties. Even in the stage, the group stage of Euro, tie games, each team takes a point away, you walk away. If they go to PKs, it means there's something on the line here, which I get. It's compelling. It's exciting. It'll put a knot in your gut, even if you're not one of the fan of the two sides on the field. But it does not prove who the better soccer team is because it takes every bit as much luck to score in PKs as it does skill. It's 50-50.
Right.
It really is. So to me, I want to know who the better soccer team is. It's the same argument that I've made, and this one ticks off football fans, that I don't like football in the rain because we don't find out who the better football team is. We find out who's better at not fumbling the ball when it's slippery.
Well, you found out who the better football teams are because they're in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
2, you've already passed 90 minutes and plus extra time.
Yep.
That you found that both teams are kick-ass. They're both
absolutely
evenly matched. So you bring it down to a penalty kick of individuality, one a mano, if you will, of who can outwit the next one. Because it's all about movement. It's all about freaking out the goalie, and it's also finding out how well the kicker, the striker, if you will, can outwit the other opponent on the other side.
Sure.
And that's where it comes down to, because granted, everything that just happened in the first part of the game is nullified. Everybody knows, all right, we're back to
I guess
zero.
I mean, thank you for making an argument for me. You've now taken 128 to 140-ish minutes of football and made it worthless.
No, you didn't make it worthless. You just found out, right, we're not going to get any much further with this because what we're going to do now is, what are you doing?
What are you doing, Lance?
I'm going to put him on StreamYard using my phone. That's what I was doing.
I could lean over.
Look at that. Look at that.
That's scary.
Look at that. Beautiful.
Thank you, Lon.
Lonzo's a techno whiz, too.
marvelous, isn't he? Everybody is evenly matched when it comes to before the penalty kicks happen. I think it adds the extra drama to the game because we already know that both teams are kicking ass. Both teams are unbelievable. So would you rather keep going and keep adding another 15 minutes each time, or would you just rather settle it just bam, just like that?
No, I go extra 15-minute rotating periods.
That's boring.
Golden goal.
That's boring.
No, it's not.
It is.
If golden goal football is boring, then 90 minutes of nil-nil soccer is boring. In fact, I would even argue more, because if you've got 90 minutes of 0-0 football and somebody scores at 87, the game's still not over. But if you make a mistake in golden goal football and give away, that's it, you're done. There's no coming back. There's no, we got 2 more minutes of stoppage. Let's see if we can get a miracle. You make a mistake, you're done.
You can argue all you want.
Yeah, I know.
You're trying to bring in your American thought process into a European sport.
Glad you brought that up. One more for you.
Oh, here we go.
So, no, this I'm actually going to ask your opinion. The last thing you're wrong about.
With your argument yet, or what?
No, I've made my argument and I'm right. So I have a question. I got into a discussion the other day with a couple of friends of mine who support the Greenville Triumph here, which I do too. I'm rocking the jersey today.
You said you're going to take me out.
Yeah, you're coming to a match.
I'm in.
Saturday?
I want to see the last.
You ready for this one? You ready for my level of fandom? On Saturday at the game, I'm actually playing the drum in the supporter section for the team.
But I got to go to Augusta for a wedding.
Wedding over football.
Hey, some of us are busy. I mean, but I'm sure he'll get there eventually.
This will be for a year.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I kind of have a show. It's not my fault. Yeah, I do. Exactly.
So I made the argument the other day to a couple of my buddies in the Reedy River Riot, which is the supporter section for the Triumph. And I said that if we want to grow football in this country, which I do, and I'm actually going against my argument by calling it that, but we want to grow soccer in this country. We should let our American fandom not change the game, but we should be Americans in the way that we support American soccer, in that it's okay to call it soccer, not football. And you shouldn't correct people when they call it soccer instead of football. The things you put on your feet are cleats, not boots. Boots are what I wear to work. Cleats are what I wear to play sports. It's not a kit. It's a uniform. We don't talk about the Carolina Panthers kit. It's a uniform. We can always call it that in every sport. There are elements that we can build off of, but we should make, if we want the United States, for instance, the men's national side to catch up with where the women are and to continue to have the sport develop in the country, we should not be chastising new American fans who are just getting into it from being American fans and go, no, we got to do it that way because that's what the British do. That's what the Scots do. That's what the French do. Let's do our own thing and grow our sport the way we grow it so that we can go compete with the Brits and the French and the Spanish.
Do it just like they do with the NFL. The NFL in London, when they do that, I've been over there a couple of times during the game. I have never gone to a game. The last time I was there, it was when they were at Twickenham Stadium. And I was coming back from London itself. I was at Waterloo Station, jumping on a train, going back to Staines, which is 2 stops away from Twickenham. And Twickenham was where I was born. And Twickenham is legendary for that big-ass rugby stadium they got going there. But that's where they did the football if they weren't doing Wembley or doing the new the Chelsea Stadium.
Yeah,
where they're playing at.
Stamford Bridge and all that.
Right. It was so packed, and you saw every different football jersey in Waterloo Station like you could imagine. But do like the Brits do, even when they did baseball over there as well, is they watched it as American.
Sure.
They enjoyed it as Brits watching an American sport.
Sure.
They're not going to change it. You're sure as hell not going to see too much cricket over here.
Sure.
Because it's the same theory as baseball. You're just doing it in a different way.
Doing it in a circle.
Doing it in a bizarre way. I'm a Brit.
I don't get cricket.
I'm a Brit, and I still don't get cricket. I just know that damn ball hurts. And
which means he's not good at cricket.
No, I suck at cricket. I'm only 5'5". I was bad at basketball. But you just enjoy the sport as is. Don't change the sport, and don't change things like your idea of getting rid of a PK. PKs are great. I think PKs should be around because it's a European way to settle the things.
Texter says, could you imagine if NBA overtime games came down to free throws? I will.
That would actually be kind of cool.
No, it would not.
Or if you had a tie game in baseball, would you do a home run?
Let's okay, that I would be in for because home run derbies are awesome. Let's settle a basketball game by playing basketball. Let's settle a soccer game by playing soccer.
Turn it into dodgeball.
I'd be a better one.
With a basketball.
After 90, after 2 extra time periods, if we're still tied, 11 fans on both sides wearing jerseys come down and we just play fan versus fan teams.
Are you saying that for football and baseball?
All of them.
Or you say
all of them. All of them.
Far be it from me to side with, one person or the other, but I think the game was originated in the place where Stoneman was born. So
it is so sad that we can't win a damn.
well, I mean, other than that, so I think he's right about the PKs, and I know I'm not a big soccer fan, but I do understand it.
You're the person, but here's the thing. This is exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're the person that as somebody who wants American soccer to grow, Zoe's the person I'm trying to get bought in, the person I'm trying to influence.
By the way, you take those away, then I lose interest. I think that's part of the cool part that it could come down to.
Are you going to
that.
watch the first 90 to get there? Are you going to watch the first 90 minutes of the match, actually 120 plus minutes of the match, to see if PKs happen? Because the thing is, I need you invested in 120 plus minutes of football, and then the PKs can be exhilarating.
I think that should happen after every tie. There should not be a tie, period, ever in any match, because ties are stupid and it's a waste of time. All it is again, no ties. And in soccer, all you're saying is, look at us, we have great cardio. Nothing happened in the game. There's no victor here, but our cardio is excellent.
You go to the pub a couple hours
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Guinness makes everything better.
It does.
No, see this is the part where I know the discussion gets lost, right? Because to me, what I need is somebody like Lonzo to understand that I can watch a 5-4 match with 9 goals that is really sloppy. Or I can watch a 0-0 game with magnificent form football where two teams are just perfectly attacking and counterattacking. Goalies are on the point, never come off the line, etc. And I, as a soccer fan, can be more entertained by a 0-0 draw with great football than a 5-4 scoring blitz. But the two teams are just hacking it up and it's ugly and rough. Because the beauty, and this is where I do lose American fans, the beauty is in the playing of the game, not the goal.
Well, it's shots on goal. What is shots on goal and how you dribble the ball all the way down the field and keep it within your teammates without getting taken. The only thing I wish that soccer players would improve on would be their acting skills.
That is where you lose a lot of Americans.
Let me just say the beauty is the playing of the game is where participation trophies came from. That kind of attitude.
Well, you take the acting skills out of soccer, you get rugby.
To some degree, yeah. To some degree. I mean, fouls are still fouls.
Ain't nobody holding a kneecap in rugby.
Ryan says instead of PKs, keep playing and take a player off for each extra period. So we get down to where it's just 4-on-4 soccer. Let's go.
Like hockey.
Yeah, that's what hockey's done. Yeah.
We put them in a penalty.
Yeah. Hockey's gone down. It's you go down to in fact the local minor league, I guess minor professional leagues down in Pensacola. And I think the Swamp Rabbits did it too. When it goes to extra period, it's 3-on-3 plus the goalies.
You get a yellow card, you get to go in the penalty box.
I'm fine with that. Let's just make it weird.
Let's
make it weird.
That would actually be pretty
All
good.
right. So I will end with you guys, and I'm speaking of you guys as Brits. Ought to be damn proud of that football team. They played like heroes.
Well, the next thing we look forward to is the World Cup next year.
Yep.
Pretty much the same team if we keep our fingers crossed.
Yep.
I think I might be able to try to get a jersey now since the match is over, and I might be able to find one. But
a lot of your countrymen were burning them in the streets afterwards,
it's their own damn
which
fault,
I
isn't it?
don't understand at all.
But yeah, I don't either. But it's just like anybody over here when their Super Bowl team loses. How many times have you seen a football jersey?
In fairness, my team has never lost the Super Bowl. So
my team is the Kansas City Chiefs. I had a drought for 20 some odd years.
Our team, yes. Our team.
It is what it is. All right. So we got World Cup coming up in Qatar. First off, can we all agree that FIFA sucks?
Yes.
Just as a governing body, they're garbage.
Yes.
I'm in a weird place because on one hand, hate the way that Qatar was awarded it, hate the way they're building their stadiums, hate the way this entire tournament's being run. But on the other hand, it's the World Cup and I love it. It might be my favorite sporting event.
It's all about the almighty dollar, just like
Oh, sure.
sporting event. It all comes into revenue, but and especially in Qatar, it's not like they need the revenue, but some areas do. But we'll see what happens with it. It's just like any other international sport. Everybody's going to put their own flavor into it, but it still comes down to one thing: penalty.
Could you imagine if in an NFL game, instead of going to overtime, Alonzo, we did field goal team competitions? We just back them up 5 yards and kick field goals, and whoever makes the last one wins?
And I think start at the 50-yard line.
No.
Yeah.
Play the game.
How many soccer players would you have be playing football?
Texter says, "Oh yes, Rob, because that 9-6 Alabama LSU game was beautiful to watch." See, this is where I become the weirdo. This is where I become the weirdo because to me, it was because you had two monster defenses slugging it out in that game. To me, the success of a game is not in goals, whether it's touchdowns or goals in soccer. The beauty is in the players playing. I can appreciate a picture going out and throwing a 2-hit gem and no runs get scored. It's beautiful to me.
It's like you're just saying, baseball. It's all about at bats and how good the pitcher is. The pitcher is against the one-on-one. It is mano-a-mano. It's your penalty.
Sure,
that's your baseball.
but that's a sport. You're still playing baseball.
You're still playing baseball, but when you run, and again, you look at some of the fastest runners in baseball through the years. Who's going to get around the bases faster than the other guy, or who's going to throw the hardest football? What was the one dude in the All-Star game last night was throwing consistently over 100 miles an hour?
Oh, Scherzer, Ohtani, these dudes are machines.
It's like
machines.
And of course, my Kansas City Royals, they
aren't good.
A hit. Yeah, they suck. I remember when they were good, but they're the Kansas City Chiefs of football.
Your boy Salvi can slug though.
Oh, you can.
He can slug.
I wouldn't want to piss him off.
Thanks for coming by, big dog.
Well, thanks for
enjoyed
having
it.
me by.
Let's do this more often.
Well, okay.
Let's do this in a bar though. Stone Man.
Have a few Guinnesses. That could be good.
Twist my arm, buddy. Good to see you. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Ta-ta.
Thanks, brother. That was a good time, man.
I was downstairs talking to Rush. They just got done doing the work. And I was like, what time is it? He goes, 2:21. Right. I said, I got to run.
I'm glad you did, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, I was like going, got done with that. I was like, shit. So,
Coming bowling tonight?
yeah, in fact, I got to get the wife. And
love it.
Ever had Courtney?
Yeah, she's coming.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
That could be crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you going?
Don't I always when bowling's involved? Well, that was an interesting experiment to see if I could do that. And I found one flaw in because I've had people on before on StreamYard on their phone, and they always say to put headphones on, and now I see why. Even with the volume turned all the way down, I don't know if you heard the echo, but there was a little bit of an echo. So I will have to come up with a solution eventually, and I think I know what the solution is. I just stick it, not being nearly as nerdy as Rob was earlier. If I just stick an 1/8" jack into the bottom of the phone, it will kill the speaker.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can solve that because I had the volume completely down.
We just need to get them to bring us another webcam for when we have a guest.
Right. I just wanted to try it while we were there. I couldn't reverse camera though. I couldn't figure out. So that's why
there should be a button.
There wasn't a button because I don't know if it's a StreamYard function or what, but I couldn't find one. And that's the reason why I had to turn it the other way. Then finally I took it off because it was making my bowling elbow sore. You can't be having that.
Did you hear it? So we're walking down the hall and said, I was telling him about it. He said, are you guys coming? I said, yeah. I said, you better be ready. Lonzo said he's bringing that smoke. And JD goes, ooh, what kind? And I went, no, I meant bowling. Have you met Lonzo?
His name is Stone Man for a reason.
Stone Man.
He has stories.
I completely believe
Ask him his Grateful Dead story.
I absolutely will. I'm going to see the Grateful Dead in October. Well, what's left of the Grateful Dead?
Oh, for some reason, because my brain is just I'm in sports mode, believe it or not, baseball guy. So I can't. Who was the Jerry Garcia?
Yes.
Ask him his Jerry Garcia story.
I 100% will.
Coming from anybody else, it would be unbelievable. Coming from him, you're just like, yeah, that definitely happened. QC Kinetics in the next break.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could reverse the camera
on the stream, but he didn't sound like he had a mic. Was he in utility? That's why. It's all good. There's no reason to have thought about that.
Yeah, actually there is, but I have failed again.
You're right. There is no flip camera button. Cam?
I guess trust but verify is what you're doing there. Not that well.
I'm genuinely curious because here when you were talking about that, I was thinking like
I assumed that there would be one, and when I got there, I was like, wait a minute, where is it? Maybe it's hidden somewhere, and I just couldn't find it. I also had to go to Safari in order to make it work.
Dude, look at that. Look at that. Oh man, my neck is out of whack. Thanks to Stone Man for coming to sit in with us for a minute, talk a little soccer. That was fun. Unexpected.
I appreciate you putting the booster chair over there, though.
Yeah, I'm looking over at it now. The seat of his chair is like even with the desk almost. I'll let you bust it out. I said during the break, I said, you coming bowling? And he said, yeah. And I said, you better watch out. Lonzo's bringing that smoke. And Stone Man went, ooh, what kind? Like, have you met Lonzo? It's not that kind of smoke. Stoned man.
I'm so offended, but that was the joke, I suppose.
Lonzo then immediately says, oh, yeah, ask him his Jerry Garcia story.
It's a great story, man. It really is.
All right. We talked a little bit about it earlier. Suns Bucks tonight. Give me clip number 9, if you don't mind. This is DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul on the Suns' attitude coming into game 4.
I'm not going to let that game bother me, to be honest. I think I've been playing well defense where I can, play big and, just embrace contact and, just up to however the momentum of the game is going to where, we're in transition and I'm taking, I'm gathering everybody around or, I'm doing straight up verticality. It's pretty hard in the playoffs where you can get a foul or not. So it's just me being sturdy and doing what I do best.
Short memory, just move on. Been there before, you know what I'm saying? So just understanding the game, understanding situations that I've been through and just trusting the work that you've put in. As simple as that. But, my main objective out there is to win the basketball game.
I think it's more like what's our team like? This ain't golf. It's not tennis. You know what I mean? We all in this together. So everybody on our team took the loss hard, as we should. We never go into a game expecting to lose. If you show me somebody who expects to lose, I'll show you a loser. And so everybody on our team felt a way. We felt like we could be better, and that's why we used yesterday, we'll use today to prepare, and we'll all come out ready to play tomorrow.
Look, it's real simple for the Suns. You got to go back and do your game. You got away from your game a little bit in game number 3. Your game is CP3 to the elbow, set the pick. You either get the roll, you either get the step back jump, or you get the kick out. It's really simple. I think that's what I really enjoyed about the Suns. Aside from the way they built their team and aside from the leadership that CP3 has shown, it's that Suns basketball is very simple basketball, right? It's not complicated. It's not 2, 3, 4, 5 picks. They can move the ball. What they have in game 2? They had one sequence that had 10 passes on one possession before they got Ayton on an open roll to the basket. But Those 10 passes were within what the Suns wanted to do because they got the Bucks out of position. They got the Bucks running around the floor on defense. They were uncomfortable until the roll worked. But Suns basketball is easy. CP3 drive, give him the pick and roll. The roll will be open. CP3 can step back for the mid-range jumper, which he has been excellent at this year, or you kick it out to D-Book for the three or the drive down the baseline. If the Suns play Suns basketball, unless Middleton has a 30-point game again tonight, I think the Suns win tonight, make it 3-1, and head back to Phoenix with just one needed to go. So I'll take the Suns tonight.
I'm going with the Suns too. They seem like a team that would regroup and go over film and figure out what they've done wrong and fix it because they're a team.
Yeah, and they're good. I mean, when I say good team, I don't mean like they're good at basketball. I mean, they are a good team. They work together as a team. If the Bucks get Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton to step back up, it'll be a game. But I haven't really seen, with the exception of like games, 1 and 2 in the last series, we haven't really seen Middleton and Holiday both have back-to-back games together. We've seen each one of them individually have back-to-back games, but they have not both showed up together in back-to-back games so far in this postseason. They have to do that tonight if they want a chance. If they do, the Bucks can win. This is not like Suns in a blowout. I'm like 60% confident in Phoenix tonight. But we'll find out. Texter says, and this is to the other station, but I'm going to read it, and then we're going to take a break, Zoe. Nick Cage expression on his face looks like he always needs to take a crap. End text.
The Pig movie coming out pretty soon. It looks awesome. It really does.
American icon Nicolas Cage. Quick break, Twitter to wrap it up next on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
QC Kinetics.
That's right. QC Kinetics right here in the Upstate. Once you go back to feeling, like normal, man. They just want you to feel like normal. Here's the reality. When you grow up, as we all are forced to do, not mentally, physically, as you're forced to grow up physically, you have this connective tissue that's inside all your joints, your knees, your elbows, your hips, your shoulders, all of it. And that connective tissue begins to wear down because of, wear and tear, grind. That's how it works. And then the parts those connective tissues keep from touching, they stop. And they start to rub together, just like that. And that's where that inflammation comes from, and that's where that chronic joint pain comes from. Well, QC Kinetics is a non-surgical regenerative therapy that helps to heal. It helps to restore that connective tissue so that those joints stop being inflamed and stop being painful. So whether it's because you've got to crawl around on the floor of your job, or you just want to be able to pick up your grandkids or play around in golf without the fear of pain that is inevitable after you do that activity, then you need to call our friends at QC Kinetics. To learn the science behind it, go to QCkinetics.com, QCKINETIX.com, QCkinetics.com, or give a call. 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get that first consultation for free. It's our friends at QC Kinetics right here in Greenville.
Sometimes reaching the radio is hard.
I'm real comfy under these covers. I can't reach the radio.
No, I forgot. Hey, Chris, are you there? I completely forgot. My bad. Chris is with Mark. So,
Chris. At Mark's apartment?
No, it's Thursday. Never mind. It's not Thursday. I am so... I know that was coming up. It just threw me off. He asked me to tell him when I was in break, and for some reason I thought it was tomorrow. disregard all that. Did you see Ryan's message about the woodchuck?
Oh.
I would say, Ryan, it depends on who's judging and what their demographics are. If it's like one person, what are they into? So that might influence what you would name it. Got to find out their likes. You can go several different directions. Bob is much more creative than I am. I don't have ideas. I don't do that. So I'm sure Rob could come up with something pretty easily.
That is the most full of crap.
Or the biggest idea man that I know, without a doubt, and I'm sure it will be completely clean because that's his reputation. That will be Mark Ryan. Mark Ryan can help you for sure with your question. What Ryan says is we have a woodchuck in our courtyard at work and are having a naming contest for it. Winning office gets a pizza party, so I need ideas. Thanks. Love the jersey. So I guess he's talking to you.
All right.
Rob didn't hear anything I said, and now he's reading it.
I did. I just wanted to pull up on the screen so everybody else could read it as well. Naming contest for a woodchuck. Oh, look you want ideas? You go with Keegan.
Woodchuck Barkley is pretty
Woodchuck
good.
Barkley is strong, Keegan. That's strong. I think if you go with anybody who's, Woodchuck Norris would be a good contender.
That.
Woodchuck Berry.
Again,
I need more description of the woodchuck in question. Like, is it a feisty chipmunk?
I still say it comes down to, is it a panel of judges or is it a single judge? What is it? Sorry, man. For some reason.
Fantastic shirt. That's a fantastic shirt.
All right, whatever it is, we got a minute. Oh, okay.
Woodchuck Mangione.
Oh, I like that. But not many people know the Chuck Mangione.
I think you go with let's anthropomorph. Give me the personality and character of the chipmunk or the woodchuck, excuse me. Then you figure out what chuck it's most similar to, and you go Woodchuck last name. But I think you're going to be hard up to beat Woodchuck Norris. In which case, Keegan got Woodchuck Barkley. I got Woodchuck Norris. So if Woodchuck Norris wins, that man show would use only Woodchuck Norris. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't have come up with any of this.
All right, it's time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell the world, nay, the universe, what is trending, and Rob Brown will tell everybody what he knows about it. All right, the first thing that's trending is National Nude Day.
Mark Ryan has threatened to do the 3:00 hour in the nude, ladies and gentlemen. So I just need you all.
Hold his feet to the fire.
Yeah.
His naked feet to the fire.
Not literally, though, because then you'd have to be there, and I don't wish that on anybody.
He could be into it. I don't know. But still, make him do it. He said he put it on Twitter. He's got to stick to his word that he's going to be, nude. And, didn't we need visuals? No, you need visuals. I don't need them.
I do not need visuals.
When I say you, I'm pointing to, to the listeners.
The royal you.
Yeah. Sorry about the listeners.
I do not need visuals. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Yeah, I just need you guys to repeatedly make awkward jokes to Mark over the next hour about it, to make him as uncomfortable as he makes us with comments like that. Your 3:00 keyword is post, P-O-S-T, post, P-O-S-T. You're going to text post, P-O-S-T, to 72881 for your chance to win $1,000 in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. Diesel and an apparently nude Mark Ryan are taking over the radio. He's not even in the building yet. I'm going to go disinfect the entire side of the office.
You should. By the way, they don't want none of this. As far as bowling goes,
come get that smoke, Diesel. Come get that smoke.
They don't
Mark
want
Ryan.
They don't want that.
Come get that smoke tonight, Mark Ryan. See y'all tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show.